An ancient castle ruin, the final resting place of a dread necromancer, stirs to life, or more accurately, unlife once more. Foul creatures stalk the outskirts of town, plaguing travelers and merchants alike. Hired by the local township, a party of adventurers must enter the foul abode of undead and uncover the shadow of the necromancer. Coming right up on RPG Retro Reviews. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel RPG Retro Reviews. I'm Captain Courageous and I review old school modules and games and try to give them a fun and informative analysis. This week I'm taking a look at another module from Dark Wizard Games, Shadow of the Necromancer. This is a mini adventure with a small page count of only 14 pages. Like almost all of the modules in this series, it emulates the trade dress of early TSR Dungeons & Dragons modules and is written for the Osric game system, though it could be easily played using Swords and Wizardry, Old School Essentials, Hyperborea, or just about any old school D&D game. In addition, if you like modern D&D, there is also a 5th edition version of this module available as well. Spoiler warning, I will be delving into many of the secrets of the module, so be warned if you intend to play. The author of the module is Dark Wizard's founder, Mark Tormino. Mark is an interesting character in his own right. In addition to the title of game designer, Mark makes his living as a software engineer, but he also has a side gig as a character actor in movies, commercials, and music videos, and even has his own entry in the Internet Movie Database. Thus, his pedigree as a creative is well established. Dark Wizard Games has a rather healthy line of old school modules called the Maximum Mayhem series, which also includes a box set of 7 modules. All of them are characterized by their gonzo and bloody style, high production values, and excellent old school artwork. Currently, Mark has a Kickstarter in progress to reprint this series, as well as add an additional new adventure, Shadow of the Necromancer. Since this is a reprinting of an existing series, turnaround time for this Kickstarter should be fairly brisk. If you already own this series or are looking to pick up a fun adventure or two for your old school or new school games, then you can elect to purchase the modules individually and get a 10% discount over the web store price. I've already reviewed 2 of the modules in the series, Palace of the Dragon Princess and Villains of the Undercity. Check the links above for a playlist of those module reviews. In this latest module, Shadow of the Necromancer, a young upstart necromancer named Damien Nightfall, already rejected by the Wizards Guild for his overzealous ambition, has taken up residence in the abandoned keep of an infamous necromancer from history, the foul wizard known as Malicious Dreadmore. Dreadmore himself was the victim of his own overreaching ambitions, whose dark experiments in necromancy resulted in a peasant uprising and the intervention of adventurers who slew the evil wizard and laid his castle to ruin. Of course, the young wizard is messing with magical forces beyond his understanding, and that leads to mayhem and chaos. The young necromancer is not entirely in control of the distorted results of his creation, and the attacks on local travelers and merchants en route to a nearby town results in the township hiring a party of adventurers to investigate. At least that's one of the 4 possible ways the module suggests involving the player characters in the adventure. Other possibilities include just randomly coming upon the keep while traveling along the road, or even hired by a noble to find and rescue a missing son or daughter. The town of the module is not detailed. This is a mini adventure after all, and as such, it can literally be dropped into the Game Master setting just about anywhere at any time. The module is listed as being for character levels 1 to 3, but it could be run for higher level groups by toughening up a few of the encounters. The Ruined Keep itself is detailed in the inside cover of the module, the ground and upper floor on one page and the dungeon level on the other, and as you can see here, it's a relatively small castle. Note that the 1E module sticks with the traditional blue ink style maps, while the 5E version provides a rather detailed virtual tabletop ready color map. The keep itself potentially could be explored in a single evening sitting. 4.5 pages of the module's page count is dedicated entirely to its background. One thing that Mark is known for is really fleshing out the backgrounds of his NPCs. This certainly helps the game master run them appropriately with motivations and goals plainly given, and this module is no exception. Damien Nightfall is a young, eager, and overzealous wizard who seeks power well before he is able to control it, and predictably this leads to trouble and madness. The encounters here are all interesting, fun, and creative, but also indicative of what one would expect to find in a creepy, old, abandoned castle under the control of an insane necromancer. Wandering monsters include giant rats, zombies, bats, and skeletons. Each of the adventurous encounters are given detailed box text. Here one can expect to run into giant spiders, a refreshing-looking fountain that is actually flowing acid capped by a demonic statue that will spit its caustic fluid at those who dare approach. There is a many-pillared hall of green slime, and quite a few other fun and interesting encounters, and as they explore, the PCs can slowly uncover the extensive background of the keep and its insane occupant. This is where my first little nitpick comes up. I'm not into text dumps. The module instructs the game master to read certain background sections to the players in their entirety. For example, in room 2 on the upper level laboratory and library, they can uncover Damien's journal and find his research on the keep's previous occupant. And the text instructs the GM to read the Malicious Dreadmore the Necromancer section of the module. Of course, experienced referees probably know that it's best to paraphrase this kind of information, and certainly I wouldn't recommend reading aloud a full page and a half of flavor text to the players. After exploring the upper levels, the adventure proceeds into the creepy dungeon depths of the place, and as one would expect, the module's finale ends with a confrontation with the insane young necromancer who has animated the corpse of the long-dead Malicious Dreadmore into a rather powerful zombie. The front cover art for the first edition module is excellently rendered by Fred Rawlis, and the back cover art is chillingly rendered by Chet Mitten. The outstanding interior art is by a cadre of talented artists: Adam Black, Brian Brinley, Carlos Castillo, Bradley McDivitt, and Fred Rawlis. The front cover art for the 5th edition module is by Justin Davis. The cartography for both the color and blue versions of the map is by Frank Turfler Jr. So let's go ahead and take a look at Dark Wizard's game Shadow of the Necromancer on my D20 scale of style, presentation, and value. Style-wise, both the 5th edition and the 1st edition modules have high production values. All of the artwork is evocative and well done, and extremely enjoyable to look at while reading the module. Dark Wizard's emulation of TSR's 1980 trade dress is also well done, though I do have to wonder if perhaps it's a bit too faithful. And by that I mean the cartography. Both the 1E and the 5E maps are done by Frank Turfler, but of course the 1E map is done in the blue ink style. 5E version has a beautifully realized, virtual tabletop ready detailed color map. The color map certainly makes things much clearer, and if running this virtually, a better choice regardless of which edition you prefer. I have to wonder if isn't it better just to eschew the traditional 1980s style blue map and just use the color map for both? What do you think? Let me know in the comments below which you would prefer. Personally, I'd rather have the color map just for the additional detail and potential to run virtually, regardless of what version of rules I'm using. I'm going to rate this a 16. As far as presentation goes, this definitely looks like a fun evening of Dungeons & Dragons. This is a straightforward by-the-numbers dungeon romp. The surprises come not so much in the plot details, but by the various encounters and the situation itself. That said, Mark certainly likes to go on and on with character backgrounds, with novel-like dialogue quotes and a fully realized short story. This is great for the Game Master as it makes for an enjoyable read, but in my opinion, not something to be read aloud to players. It should definitely be paraphrased. Both the OSREC 1E module and the 5th edition module's artwork and layout is fundamentally identical, including the layout for game statistics in the old school style, which in my opinion does not translate that well for 5e stat blocks. To me, this just looks muddled. Personally, I'd rather have all the stats listed in the back of the book in the typical 5e layout style than this, which to me feels kind of jumbled. I do think that this is a great first module for players new to D&D, as well as a first-time adventure to run for a newbie game master. The nature of the thing makes it super easy to just plop down into any D&D-esque style setting. You could run this with OSREC, 5th edition, Hyperborea, and that setting with only minor modifications. You could easily put this in the Middlelands setting as well, or the Forgotten Realms. It's extremely flexible. However, there is no town presented, and the Game Master will have to fill in that detail. But given the vast number of resources available these days for such things, that shouldn't be an issue. I'll rate this a 14. Finally, let's talk value. With the current Kickstarter, you can get the PDFs for either the 1E or 5E versions for just $10, the print and PDF for $20, and both versions for $35. There's also a free add-on for some old school style character sheets as well. I'll rate this an 18, and that brings my overall rating for the Dark Wizard Games module, Shadow of the Necromancer, to a 16. Very good. The Kickstarter for this module and all the Dark Wizard Games reprints ends tomorrow, so if you want to get in on this, hop on over to their Kickstarter page right now. A link is in the description. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you found this review helpful and useful. I'd like to thank all of my patrons who support the channel month after month. Thank you for your continued support. Without you, these videos would not be possible. Please give this video a like, comment, and share. Please check out my Teespring store for great gaming swag, t-shirts, carry bags, coffee cups, and more. Join the channel's Facebook page, RPG Retro Reviews. Consider supporting the channel by becoming a patron yourself, or alternatively, you can just leave a tip through the PayPal tip jar. Link is in the description. And as always, my friends, may your D20 roll true and game on.